Hi, it's Andy here at Photech Video, and in today's video I'm going to tell you why you should use your zoom kit lens, the one which came with your DSLR camera or with your mirrorless camera. And near the end of this video I'm going to give you a top tip on how to get an out of focus background in your portraits using your zoom kit lens. And I'll also include a few images taken here in my studio in a previous behind the scenes photo shoot using this kit lens on my Panasonic S5. So generally, the kit lens which comes with your DSLR or mirrorless camera has a variable focal length and also a variable aperture. The wider the focal length, the wider the aperture, and the narrower the focal length, the narrower the aperture. This is typical of zoom kit lenses, and it means that the more you zoom in to your maximum focal length, the narrower the aperture is, and therefore the less light which is going to enter onto your sensor. Just to clarify, the lower the f number, the wider the aperture in the lens, which means more light comes in and hits your sensor. The higher the f number, the narrower the aperture on your lens, meaning that less light can enter into your sensor for the same exposure time. One of the most sought after effects from lenses is that out of focus depth of field in front of or behind the subject, which is easily created using a wider aperture. Having said all that, that doesn't mean that your zoom prime lens is no good. The complete opposite. Your kit lens can be your biggest ally. So, what are the benefits of the zoom kit lens which came with your camera? Well, first of all, a kit lens is a great lens for learning the basics of photography and also learning how to use the different features of your camera. And many kit lenses produce extremely good results. As I said before, at the end of this video, I'm going to include a few images taken using my Panasonic S5 and my 20 to 60 mm f3.5 to f5.6 kit lens, which is the lens which I generally use here in my behind the scenes photo shoot videos. One of the reasons for that is because to control the lighting here in the studio, I have video lights on which allow you to be able to see me. But when I want to take a photo, I don't want that light to appear in the image. And therefore, f5.6 with a 100 ISO and a shutter speed of 1/200 allows me to completely shut out the light from my camera. If you want to know more about controlling the ambient light which enters into your images, check out this video which clearly explains how to take total control of the ambient light in your images. As I said, I often use my kit lens because this particular kit lens is a pretty high quality lens and it's also extremely versatile. A 20 to 60 or an 18 to 55, which are the typical zoom kit lens focal lengths, is extremely versatile. And generally, those zoom kit lenses have an aperture varying between f3.5 and f5.6. So as I mentioned, one of the great things about a kit lens is the versatility and the focal lengths which you can obtain using that particular lens. Remember, the only big downside of using a zoom kit lens is that the widest aperture you can get is between f3.5 and f4, depending on the lens itself. But let me tell you something, you do not need wide aperture lenses for many styles of photography. And yes, these zoom kit lenses do restrict your widest aperture, but they do not restrict your narrowest aperture. This particular lens can close down to f22, which is a pretty narrow aperture. And the same as when you use a low f number, which is a wider aperture, you can get that out of focus background. When you use a high f number, which is a narrower aperture, you can get a more in focus depth of field, as it's known. This is particularly important in street photography, where a typical aperture for day street photography is between f5.6 and f8, or in landscape photography, where a typical aperture for day landscape photography is between f7.1 and f13, or even higher. This means that you can practice street photography and landscape photography using your zoom kit lens, which comes with your DSLR or mirrorless camera, as well as other styles of photography. And now for that promised top tip. If you want to get an out of focus background from your zoom kit lens, remember this out of focus background is called a shallow depth of field, all you need to do is stand closer to your subject. The closer you stand to your subject, the shorter the depth of field will be, which means that you can also practice portrait photography using your zoom kit lens and getting out of focus backgrounds. Try it for yourself, experiment, get closer to your subject and move further away and see the distances where the foreground and background are in focus and out of focus. If you open your zoom kit lens to the widest possible aperture and then set the other two variables, which are your ISO and your shutter speed, to get a correct exposure and move as close as possible to your subject, still being able to frame them correctly, you should get some good out of focus background in your images. And of course, the inverse is also true. The further away you stand from your subject, the more in focus the foreground and the background will be. This Panasonic 20 to 60mm f3.5 to f5.6 has a minimum focus distance of 15 centimeters, which is like 6 inches, which is very, very little, meaning that I can get really close up to my subject and therefore be able to get that out of focus background. So when you get your DSLR or your mirrorless camera and it comes with a zoom kit lens, embrace that kit lens and practice in different situations and for different photographic styles. Believe me, it will serve you well and it will help you to discover which focal lengths you like the most and feel more comfortable with. And once you know that, then you can begin to look around for a lens which fits your needs. So if your camera comes with a zoom kit lens, please do not discard that kit lens, because if you do, you'll be missing out on all the experiences which that kit lens can offer you. You'll find affiliate links to all the gear used and mentioned in the making of this video in the description section down below. If you decide to buy something through one of my affiliate links, the price to you will be the same, and I will receive a small commission which will help me to continue creating content for you here on this channel. I was checking my YouTube statistics last night and I see that more than 90% of you guys who watch my videos are not subscribed to my channel yet. Now, subscribing to a YouTube channel is completely free for you and it helps the channel to grow. So if you liked this video and you found it interesting, please click on the like button, subscribe to my channel and ring on that notification bell to be notified every time a new video drops on my channel. Please do leave any comments or questions which you may have in the comments section down below. I always read your comments, I always answer your comments, so please do include them. Interacting with my channel will help me to be able to understand the type of content that you would like me to create in the future. So for now, this is Andy at Photech Video signing off. Take care and be safe.